Anytime you enter a situation where your life is the only integral experience that you can relate to, and you cannot relate to your outside circumstances, and you cannot find people to relate to, the conclusion you can draw from such a situation is that there exists a sense of racial bias to the point where perhaps the lack of relation is due to the systematic cause that most communities within the Western Hemisphere have been built on the foundation to actually exploit, if not exploit, isolate Black people, prohibiting them from even holding rights to a coffee or a peaceful shopping experience. This ultimately systemically roots to nothing more than a guilt of crime and a guilt of sickness that a lot of racists seem to hide within their positions of power. Anytime you have to rely on the exploitation and even the quote unquote taking out of millions of people as a collective, and still practice such an immoral doctrine today, justifying that you are in the right, you know you're in a very concerning state of functioning, to the point where should that be seen in the reverse direction, the Black person would immediately be pointed with any sort of disorder to society, but because of the barrier of skin color, somehow that grants the white people a get out of free charge from the systematic experiences that Black people have. So you tell me right now, can you imagine? And this is going to be even an understatement. Imagine you have a hedge of perhaps 100 cows in the middle, and if you are caught in public, just within any metropolitan city, if you are caught taking these cows of their livelihood, would you be seen as a moral person, or would people kind of feel uncomfortable? The fact that you would feel uncomfortable when you see an animal struggling on the streets, or when you see like a bird being run over, but you would not feel uncomfortable knowing that you're walking on the streets of millions of of Black people who contributed to labor and were denied the right to live as a consequence against their will, shows me that there is a bigger issue than what actually exists behind the smile of the racist doctor or the smile of the racist boss. The level of sickness you would need to justify or to appropriate that level of immoral behavior, that's one that really does need to be raised. And I think they don't know this, or whether they're subconsciously aware of this, but deep down inside are way too guilty. And as a result of their guilt, they decide to resort to further exploitation. Does nothing more than expose the true reality of the wicked scheming that this system continues to use, refusing Black people to even be held with a degree of respect, and refusing the experiences that Black people still have till this day. And this is the problem that a lot of people will always deny. Some people will always tell you that they're not racist because they know, like I told you, they have that guilt that comes with racism. It's a very guilty label, but they will never deny the fact that there are still multiple groups and remaining masses who are still opposed to the freedom of Black people as we speak. And it is because of their opposition that, despite the Constitution's writing a law and despite there being supposed ethical programs to keep Black people within fair, reasonable grounds, to hold us like we're in a recessed playground in need of a parent, being white America, the problem still exists, and there are still multiple groups who have publicly claimed their lack of interest in supporting the Black masses, and even further practicing anti-Black hatred towards the Black masses. Everything that these so-called professionals deny related to the true experience and what Black people actually have to go through on a regular basis. The lack of knowledge and the lack of insights that exists within these people is one that needs to be raised for questioning, because despite their knowledge and their insights, they still feel authority over the Black people, further pointing out my claim, to which their experience, for some reason, whether it's through the indoctrination of racism, has somehow exhibited them with the audacity to speak on the experience of Black people without actually undergoing the systematic research as to what racism can actually do within a community or within a person who exhibits it, along with a person who receives it. And this is the key missing piece that a lot of people never grow to actually acknowledge is missing within society, that for as long as the issue of racism is not solved, you will find that many problems that you will run away from will eventually be brought back to the surface. And this is what many Black people are experiencing, contrary to what these professionals are trying to hide, that the same acts that kept Black people within a sense of hostility or pressure dating towards prior to the 2000 year have been persistently practiced and acted within the year of 2026. No law written, no amount of time has ever solved the issue, especially if the issues are still pressing and impacting the Black communities till this day. And I think this is the underlying factor that becomes neglected. And while it is neglected, the issues are always going to be manifest, despite their ability to try and hide it with a smile or to wave it off. Deep down inside, these authorities are very well aware of the contribution and the impacts that they play towards the systemic roots and the cause of the capitulation within the Black communities as we see today.